Welcome to learning to write effective SOPs for your medical cannabis company. My name is Abby, and I will be your narrator for today. In a standard operating procedure, also called an SOP, you are trying to create a quality product or service and to keep producing that quality over and over again. The SOP has a number of headings and typically starts with a purpose or a rationale for the particular procedures that are being undertaken. There are objectives, scope, responsibility, perhaps tools or materials that are going to be used during the course of executing the SOP. Then the procedures, which are the step-by-step instructions. There are references, attachments and appendices, a revision history, and then a review and approval section. We will talk more about this in other videos. So what are standard operating procedures? These are organized written steps. They are literally your physical processes and procedures captured on paper. They're intended to instruct the user on how to perform the specific task or activity. They produce a specific end product or service. They have a desired quality and features. They're repetitive and consistent. They're tested and validated, and there are two common types. So what should your cannabis company look like in today's landscape? Well, a modern cannabis company would be making cannabis and cannabis-derived products, performing a service to customers and consumers, would be bound by legislation such as acts, regulations, guidelines, industry standards, qualifications, titles and specs, parameters, technical particularities, market activities, consumer feedback. There is a demand for consistently safe quality product and service. You'd be making product and offering service of a set quality. You're being audited by the regulatory agency and consumers alike. Supplying safe quality product service consistently. Again, I emphasize, putting controls in place to guarantee quality level from start to finish. So you're building quality into your process from seed to sale. To prepare for writing your SOPs, you need to answer the following about the task or the activity. What is it and what does it apply to? Why does it need to be done? Where is it to be performed? When is it done? How difficult is it and how is it done? Who does it? Who oversees it? Let's start by answering the first question. What is the task? What does it apply to? Well, what is a task? Is it making a product? Performing a service? You'll have to decide. Maybe it's both. What is it applicable to? Making the specific product, performing the specific service? Who should know about this task? Who or what will it impact? Watch the task as it is being performed. Note how many individual steps were taken. Highlight points at which interjections or changes occur. Record any critical or potentially hazardous points. Follow the product service flow. Identify the specific components: area, room, personnel, building, equipment, instrument, system, utility, product, customer, consumer impacted now and in the future. Make sure to write these down. Question number 2. Why does it need to be done? In order to answer that, you need to ask, What motivates you to do it? Who will use this product or service? Why will anyone use this product or service? What are the benefits of providing this product or service? Are there any special rules or laws you must follow for making this product or service? Is the product specific to any industry or group? Write these down in sentences. Make coherent professional statement of fact regarding the reason you make the product or offer the particular service the way you do. Mention any special relevant supporting fact that add value to product or services purpose. So we move on to question number 3, which is, where do you perform the task or activity? A licensed cannabis product manufacturer facility owned by an LP is where you will perform the task or activity. You cannot produce or make cannabis or cannabis products in a residence. You must have a regulatory compliant facility, must have designated manufacturing or production areas. You must have controlled processing rooms, preparation and storage rooms. And the goal is to prevent contamination to the raw material and finished product. You want to be clean and sanitary. You want to have good airflow and air quality, access to clean water, pest containment, safe and suitable processes, equipment and instruments that are appropriate, utility and systems that are easy to maintain and keep contamination free, health and hygiene facilitation. These are all things you need to have in place, and these are all areas in which you will be developing standard operating procedures. 4. So when and how often is the task or the activity done? Well, you need to look at what your hours of operation will be. What days are you going to be open? What times are you going to be working? Are you going to have shifts, day, evening, and night shifts? Are there special periods that you will have to be open or not open? Are you going to be operating hourly or daily? Are tasks going to be done hourly or daily? What about weekly or monthly, quarterly, biannually? Whatever it is, those are the times that you are going to schedule into your SOPs. And of course, there are emergency and unplanned events, and you may be required to have um, procedures done during those times. Now we come to question number 5, which asks us about the difficulty. How difficult is the task and how will it be done? So you need to assess the level of difficulty. When you're making a product or you're performing a service, is it an easy, medium, or hard, or maybe very hard product or service process and procedure? Your SOP has to be compliant with the level of difficulty. So you cannot create an SOP that omits important information and compromises the procedure and the product. You have to make sure that your SOP has all the technical requirements, the regulatory requirements, the academic requirements, the experience and education that's needed, and the experience versus the training that's needed. It must capture all of that by highlighting who will be doing the activities, how it will be done, the specifications, and whatnot. So now we come to who needs to do the task or the activity. And in keeping with the level of difficulty, we will ask ourselves, well, whether it is a type 1 SOP, which is your master SOP, strategic document, because these are normally done by the senior managers or the department managers. The type 2 SOP, your operational SOP, which are very instructional, are typically carried out by department managers, supervisors, team leaders, any personnel familiar with or trained on the activity, contractors who are familiar with the work, and sometimes visitors, depending on the type of SOP. So now we know who may be responsible for the work, depending on the level of difficulty, the task itself. Now we need to know who is accountable. Typically, this is at a level of management. Management has oversight over all of the activities that occur on site. Usually there's a quality assurance person who would have oversight, a head of security, depending on the types of SOPs, a quality control scientist, a department manager, maybe a supervisor, perhaps a team leader. Whoever it is will have ownership over the task that is to be performed via the SOP. The management will write the SOP. They will inspect the work to ensure that a quality product and service is being produced. They have to be qualified and trained to validate the work, investigate complaints and deviations, prepare corrective action plans, review and approve processes and procedures, and then write reports and submit reports to management or Health Canada or some other body. So now we take a brief look at the SOP structure. The SOP has a number of headings. You may use some or all of these headings, but you are going to have to use most of them. So the SOP has a title, a purpose, objective, scope, responsibility, materials or tools, procedures, references, attachments or appendices, review history, review and approval section, and then there are notes, precautions, warnings, specifications that could be inserted at any point where necessary. Other important parts of the SOP include the SOP number, the effective date, which is the date by which staff has to be trained to execute the SOP. So the SOP, the effective date of the SOP cannot precede the training on the SOP. There's a revision date, location of the SOP, author, the review and approve section, the page numbering, and there's a header and footer. So now that we know all that we know about the SOP, we need to get started. And how we do that is by mapping out the processes. You have to identify and list the tasks that are repetitive and those that can impact the product quality and create a process map of all processes by creating a process flowchart. You'll then isolate the processes within the flowchart and label them accordingly. You'll set up a table listing the name and naming each individual process with an SOP number. You'll list each step in the process of completing the task per process. You'll explore critical control points in each process and understand how to address them, identify the technical steps and resources needed to complete the task, discuss the personnel qualifications, decide on how you're going to deal with deviation and changes, establish processes for reviewing and revising your SOP, establish record-keeping system, and set out reporting procedures. Then you write excellent SOPs. We've come to the end of the lesson for today. We want to encourage you to look at the next video, which is going to teach you about the SOP types and structure. What are the two most common types of SOPs? When do you create and use them? And what to put in your SOPs. Additionally, we have created a series of videos on applying for your licensed producer's license in medical cannabis within Canada. If you have an interest in becoming a licensed producer, you may want to take a look at these videos. If not, you can get lots of really important, good information in those videos as well. And finally, don't forget to subscribe and like and hit the bell button so that you don't miss any videos that are about to be launched. We look forward to seeing you again.